Hey, it's Aaron,
And it's Kristen.
and this is Drive Mode Show.
Whoop! Welcome.
Welcome. Today we're going to talk about ships.
What? That's different.
We're going to talk about the Nissan Armada, which is not a ship, but is named after some.
Sure is. I don't know why though. We'll have to find the story for that. Why is it called the Armada? Isn't that like a group of ships, an Armada?
Yeah, it is. What I'm thinking is it's a name that in our mind just evokes a large presence, which that's the Armada.
That makes sense. I
Yep.
like the Armada. I've liked the Armada for a long time. I think it's been underrated as a very capable vehicle that can go just about anywhere.
hmm
And the new one has made a lot of improvements.
Yeah, I mean, the design is totally different. So this is 2025 is a new model, a new generation for the Armada, and lots of change. The exterior is much better looking. It was really getting dated before. Um, the SUV shape is still there, but it's a lot more refined. Smoother lines, simpler corners, much better looking.
Agreed. It's a lot closer to its sibling, the Infiniti QX80, than it was before, and I think that's a great thing for them. There's a really wide breadth of choices with the Armada now too.
Mhm.
It starts at like 58, but you go all the way up to the Pro 4X and you're looking at 75, 80 and above, depending on what kind of options you get.
Right. And you're at 80 grand for the platinum. So, and that's the starting there. But it seats eight, so it's still a huge full-sized truck-based SUV. But Nissan dropped the eight-cylinder engine.
They did.
So,
Like a lot of vehicles are these days. Now
yeah,
they get the V6, it's got 425 horsepower and I don't know how much torque.
516 pound feet happen to have it right there in front of me.
Good job.
It's a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6, similar to what's powering most of Ford's full-sized, most of Chevy's full-sized, and now and Toyota's full-sized. So they're basically on par with what everybody else has done or is doing now, which makes sense because V8 engines, for all their wonderful properties, they're just not efficient enough anymore. And most companies are looking somewhere else to get a little more efficiency and more specifically to get better emissions.
Yes, that is true. And just side note, I wonder if that's going to change over the next couple of years. I know when Tim Kuniskis came back to Dodge, he said he was bringing the V8 back. We'll see.
Mhm. I think that at this point, the V8 is mostly going to be an enthusiast engine. I think the change has already been made and the writing is already on the wall. And if if anything happens politically currently, it's going to be short-lived. This stuff's going to turn around eventually, and it just is the way things are. We have for a very long time, for 40 years or more, we've been moving towards better efficiency. So it's just a matter of time. The 9-speed automatic in this is a big move towards efficiency, and it's a wonderful transmission. It shifts really nicely.
It does. I took the Armada Pro 4X and the Frontier Pro 4X. So this is the first year that the Armada is getting the 4X, the Pro 4X trim. And we took it out in outside of Phoenix in Tonto National Forest area. Did some pretty slippery hills, downhill, uphill, tried the hill descent, used the electronic rear diff locker, and I was impressed. I thought it was really capable. I mean, that didn't surprise me, but I thought it was better than it gets credit for.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a Lone Ranger National Forest. Anyway, uh, the Pro 4X system on every vehicle that Nissan has put it on has been a really good one. It's a good generalized off-road system. So it's not particularly made for one or two scenarios. It's made to just work pretty well in all of them. So if you off-road, you really should be looking at the Pro 4X. That's like for me, like that's the Frontier is a great little truck, and I love the Pro 4X version and have for a long time. I mean, it was the same truck for like 14 or 15 years before the current generation, and I loved it, even though a lot of other people panned it because oh, it's outdated or whatever. No, it was a great little truck, and the in the Armada, you're getting pretty much the same kind of treatment. So you're getting a little bit of upgrade on the shocks. You're getting a little more off-road for it. You're getting those locking differentials and things like that.
Yeah, and interestingly, the Armada Pro 4X has more ground clearance than the Frontier Pro 4X. But here's the interesting thing. I was driving with Nicole Wakeland on this off-road trail, and it was pretty
There were
challenging.
cupcakes.
Yes. And the Frontier, so the Armada has the upgrade to suspension, right? It's supposed to be cushy on the road, and it is, no doubt. But when we were in the Armada, we felt like our bodies were doing more of this motion. Where in the Frontier, it's snugger and tighter. So it's a little bit more, there's a little bit less body motion inside the vehicle.
That's interesting because the Armada in its Pro 4X has air suspension.
Right.
So I would expect the opposite.
You would. And I think that the difference is that the air suspension helps with the bumpy feeling, like up and down. But
Okay.
the side to side, like we felt that more in the Armada, not in an unpleasant way, just noting this. One thing we did notice, and I've noticed this a lot with Nissan vehicles, the some of the controls that you need to use are on the left side of the steering wheel. I
Mhm.
really don't like that because you've got to lean over and kind of see, oh, where's the hill descent control? It's down there. I can't even see it if my hands are on or off the wheel.
Mhm.
So I liked my controls to be where I can see them and look right down or look up here, like Toyota had in the old Forerunner.
Yeah, I prefer vehicles where if you're off-roading, all of the off-road controls are in the same location. So you don't have to hunt around for them. They're just all right, going to be right there, right there, right there. Wherever they are, they're all clustered together. Um,
Agreed.
Land Cruiser does a good job of that. The Rovers, they do a good job of that. Um, Vehicles like that. And then it seems to be sort of an American thing to split them up. A lot of times you'll have like your towing set up over here, but the trailer brake controls way over there or something like that. Um, those little things are where our version of ergonomics are different than other people. You get into a Jeep, they're not all consolidated in one location either. You'll have a different spot for, say, the locking diffs versus where the four-wheel drive lever is and things like that. It seems to be an American thing. And the Armada is very, very American. I believe it's sold in other markets, but it's almost wholly designed here. So
Right.
it's a very American vehicle. And they're making this in Mississippi, right? I believe
I
that's
think
right.
so. I think that's right. And I think that you make a good point because the rest of the world calls it the patrol. And it's not, I don't think it's exactly the same. It's very close now, closer than it ever was in the past.
Yep. So another thing about the Armada that I remember really enjoying when I drove it is that third row. The third row in it is actually usable. So it's not just for kids and it's accessible, which is another big deal. A lot of third rows are not.
That's
They're
true.
there kind of in name only. It's like the 2+2 seating in a sports car, right? Where the back seat is just so that you can say it's a four-seat vehicle, so it's not a sports car
Right.
for insurance. A lot of times a third row is kind of it has a third row. Like that's really all they wanted to be able to do is list on paper there's a third row back there. This one's actually usable. So I wouldn't recommend old people like me climbing in and out of there on the regular, but unless you do a lot of yoga or you really, you know,
You're really bendy.
but for young adults, my teenagers, people like that, it was perfect.
Yeah, it works. I mean, the vehicle, the Armada is very, very comfortable. It has a lot of great creature comforts like the seat heaters and the audio system at the top of the line is a Klipsch,
Mhm.
which is hard to say, Klipsch. And
Yep.
it's different than the one that's in the QX80. The Klipsch in the QX80 has that individual sound where you can isolate like a phone call or navigation to your
Mhm.
headrest, but they don't have that in the Armada. But
Yeah.
still, it
And
sounds great.
I think the QX80 system is an Infinity, if I
Yes.
remember right. So it would be a different setup altogether anyway. I liked the stereo in the Armada. One thing I do kind of wish it had as an option is that speaker system where you can talk to the people in the very back, like you do in a minivan or something. Just because when there were people in the third row, like I felt like I had to kind of yell. It could also just be that my daughter is basically deaf because she's a teenager. Oh, the
Selective
parents are
hearing.
talking.
What? I don't hear anything. Yeah, I think they made some great improvements. Also notable on the new Armada is their camera system. When I drove it at the launch event, they put a big cloth over the windshield and had us drive over these obstacles using just the camera. And that was pretty cool. Like, almost
Wow.
drive it blindfolded.
Using that 14-inch display over there.
Heck yeah. So good job, Nissan. I know you're struggling right now, but we like the Armada. Just need to move the controls on the left over to the right, and it would be better.
Yep. And as it has always been, the Armada is still good at towing. It's still a good on-road or off-road vehicle. There's a lot of good things about the Armada. I think for me, the biggest upgrade has is just the looks. It just looks like it should be a new vehicle now, whereas before it was really looking outdated. So good job on that. It's really pretty looking and very premium appealing too. So there you go.
Agreed.
2025 Nissan Armada. This is Aaron.
This is Kristen.
And this is Drive Mode Show.